Kansas City, Missouri, this is GovLove, a podcast about local government. I'm Lauren Palmer, the Director of Local Government Services for the Mid-America Regional Council, and your host for this episode. GovLove is produced by ELGL, the Engaging Local Government Leaders Network. We engage the brightest minds in local government. You can support GovLove by becoming an ELGL member, so check out elgl.org for incredibly affordable and high-value membership options. Today I'm visiting with Quinn Cole, Management Analyst for the City of Topeka, Kansas. This year, Quinn was recognized in the top 2 influencers in local government by ELGL. Quinn was nominated by her peers for her ability to bridge barriers across departments and seek connections in others' work with a positive, inquisitive approach. Her impact is felt when she introduces new hires or looks for ways departments can collaborate. Quinn has a one-of-a-kind energy and brings her authentic, joyful self to her work in economic development and city management. Oh, and by the way, she just happens to be a former intern with the Mid-America Regional Council. So with great pride, I am very pleased to welcome you, Quinn, to GovLove.
Thank you, Lauren. I'm excited to be here.
So am I. It's always great to interview a friend and now a local government influencer. So I can't wait to hear more about what's going on with you and your career. To start, we're going to do our signature lightning round just to let our guests get to know you a little bit better. So my first question for you, what is your most controversial non-political opinion?
My most controversial opinion is that gum is kind of gross and it's kind of weird to keep something in your mouth for that long.
Is this controversial? Like, you're 100% spot on correct. Gum's disgusting.
It's controversial to most people in the world.
All right, well, we're just going to have a little, between the two of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's yucky, and our listeners can sort it out among themselves. I love that this is your answer, Quinn, because this is a real battle in my family. The rest of my family are gum chewers, and they know that I think it's vile. And so they like to get the loudest, poppiest, giant bubbles. Yeah, we're on radio, so people can't see that you are like shaking your head. Yeah, it's yucky.
Wow, didn't know you were an ally like that.
I'm a big time ally. Yeah, love that this was your answer. Sorry to the gum chewers out there, but for real, get some Tic Tacs. Yeah. Okay, next question, Quinn. Give us some of your local gov influence. What is something that every ELG member should be reading or watching?
I thought about this for so long, and I want to say Parks and Recreation because that's the obvious answer, but I have to go with my favorite show, Young Sheldon.
Young Sheldon. Okay, tell us more about that. Why should people be watching Young Sheldon?
Young Sheldon is very goofy on the surface, but if you really watch with a wondering eye, you will see the deep details and coming of age story of Sheldon and his wonderful family, and it's just amazing to watch.
Okay, and are there local gov connections for you or just good entertainment?
Just good entertainment, unfortunately.
No, not unfortunately. That's okay. And most people in our audience are already well familiar with Parks and Recreation, but that's another good one to recommend if people haven't found it yet. All right, and final lightning round question for you. If you could be granted a superpower, what would you choose and why?
I would choose to fly because I love to travel and I love to go places, but I just hate airplanes. They're so uncomfortable to sit in.
Oh, they are.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I guess there are like bougie airplanes. Like Taylor Swift's not flying on an uncomfortable airplane.
Well, I'm not riding on the bougie airplanes. I work for the government.
Not yet.
Okay, so true.
But yeah, it would be easier to just be able to fly than to have to generate the resources to be on the bougie airplanes. I'm with you. Okay, so that your answer is practical. You want a resource that's going to help you with your travel plans.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's very like local gov leader answer, like thinking about a practical solution to a problem. I love it. All right, Quinn, well, let's get into our interview. We want to learn a little bit more about your background. So tell us about your career path and how you got into your current role with the City of Topeka.
Yeah, so I started my career in accounting. I got my accounting degree from Loyola University New Orleans. And while I was there, I did my internship in nonprofit accounting during COVID. So that was my first introduction to government was working with them on the PPP loan program and interpreting that policy and creating their documentation for it. And that interaction with government is what motivated me to go to KU and get my MPA. And while I was there, I interned with Water One, which is the local water utility in Johnson County. And then my second year, I interned with you at Mid America Regional Council. Then, after graduation, I started my first job in a city here in Topeka in economic development. And it's been great. I've been able to kind of put together my financial knowledge from business school and my local government passion from my MPA. So I'm really loving what I'm doing right here, right now.
Oh, gosh, it's so rewarding for me as a former intern boss to hear you say that you're loving what you're doing. So tell us a little bit more about Topeka for our listeners who aren't familiar with the capital city in Kansas. Tell us about this community that you're serving.
Yeah, so Topeka is the capital of Kansas, which is really cool. It's the fourth largest city in Kansas with about 120,000 people. Our budget is about $370 million annually. We've got 1,200 employees. Since it's the state capital, the biggest industry in the city is just the government, state government. We also have a lot of healthcare. We have Blue Cross Blue Shield, a lot of industrial as well. And we've got a really poppin' downtown. And one of the biggest tourist attractions is the Brown versus Board of Education monument. It's really cool. There's a lot of history, there's a lot of diversity here. It's a really fun and interesting city.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm not sure that most people would know that the famous Brown versus Board of Education case was right here, right there in Kansas.
Yeah, this is literally the board that Brown was v. So,
Yes, well said. Okay, well, great community. You've got a lot going on. Good place to kind of start out your post internship career. Um, so we want to hear more about that. I know, and now I'm going to share with our listeners that you began your work in Topeka during a time of transition in city management, and that resulted in you inheriting a pretty big economic development project. So tell us about that and what you've learned from that experience.
yes, so about a week or two before I started, the city council passed conceptually that we would get to start a land bank program. And then in the 2 weeks between that passing and me starting, everyone that had worked on that had either turned over or been promoted into other positions within the city. So my first day, it just kind of fell on my desk and I got to figure out what a land bank is. But since then, I I did figure out what a land bank is. It's a program where we get dilapidated or abandoned housing and we take it in as the city, and then we work with a resident board of trustees to get the properties up to code and hopefully sell them to a member of the community to get that land back on the tax roll. So we started with nothing except, a resolution that says, yeah, land bank, cool, let's do it. And we worked low and slow for about a year. We only just launched 1 year later. And we worked on the administrative policies, the budget. We assembled our board of trustees. We collaborated with so many other land bank managers in the state of Kansas. And we just worked so hard on it. And it's been so awesome this first month of it being public. And we have a lot of community interest. So it's been very exciting to get to work on that from the ground level.
Yeah, Quinn, this is a big deal. Like, this is a project of a magnitude that I don't think most people in your position as a brand new management analyst would get to really lead. Um, so, I mean, talk to us more about that. Like, how did you weather this period of transition in leadership and take on this mega project.
Hmm. Something I'm thinking about for the first time right now is that even though there was a little bit of confusion around all the changes going on, it was such an opportunity for me as just a brand new employee that I don't know. I just was so ready to take everything on. I'm still like bright eyed from going to school. I think that that was the perfect position for me to be in to have an opportunity like this and to be successful with it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's really worked out for you. I don't know if you remember, I sent you a text message to be like, Quinn, this is your moment. Lean in. They're going to be looking for people who can help. Like, show them what you can do.
Yes, I do remember that.
Yeah, and you've done it, which is awesome.
Woo woo.
So you're working on the land bank. Tell us what else is keeping you busy in economic development.
I've got a lot keeping me busy. So, the land bank is one of my bigger projects, but I also work with developers and managing the projects that are on their way down the incentives pipeline. I work with them and make sure we're meeting all our statutory requirements and kind of coordinating that process. I also have recently been getting into some data work and using mobility metrics and correlating them with spending data and phone pings to identify our key corridors and gateways. And we can also use this to assess the success of some of our economic development projects that have been going on. And I also have been able to work with developers in their planning phase and kind of give them some advice on how they can interface with the city and work through work through their development.
Awesome. You're doing some great analytical work. You're doing some problem solving work with these developers, getting a lot of good experience. Um, when we were preparing for this interview, you mentioned to me that sometimes developers speak down to you or they want to go above you and talk to your boss. How are you handling those situations?
Yes. Well, luckily, I anticipated as a young woman that this might be the case. But I have kind of come up with a series of rules for myself before meeting with developers for the first time. The first and biggest thing I always do is I ask my boss about the history of the developers. Like I can see everything that they have on paper, like their past developments, but only someone with that institutional knowledge of the city's relationship with them and how their past projects went, having that insight kind of signals to them that I'm plugged into the city. I know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing I always do is if there's a financial representative in the room, I like to talk directly with them. Since my background is in accounting and finance, it's usually it's much easier for me to connect with that financial person because real recognizes real. We know that language of financial systems and accounting and all that. So it's usually a bit easier to win their respect than the charismatic visionary CEO. But if those don't work, I just keep a smile on my face. I know that I am doing the best work I can be doing, and if it takes them to go to my boss, she will say the same thing. So it doesn't get me too down. But I've been working on that.
That sounds great. Um, yeah, you really have figured out the relationship side of the job much earlier than I did in my career. So I'm impressed by that. I've learned a lot from you. I think you have a real gift for relationship building. Something that you taught me when you interned at Mark was about the notion of be real. And you mentioned it just now, real recognizes real. So when I learned about this, you were teaching me in the context of it's a social media app. So maybe you can tell our listeners a little bit about that. But for you, I think be real is more of an attitude. So what does it mean to you to be real?
I love to be real. So, for context to anyone listening, Be Real is a social media app where you can only post once a day. And it's when you get a notification to post. It happens at a random time during the day. And you have 2 minutes after the notification to post a photo from the front camera and the back camera. And the idea behind it is that on Instagram or Facebook, you're posing, you're finding the coolest location, you are putting a filter on it. You're showing your best self. But on Be Real, it's the unfiltered. Maybe you're laying in bed scrolling on your phone or you're just watching TV at home. That's what gets posted because that's what you're really doing. And I think the way that that's an attitude is you just have to be yourself and be unashamed about it.
Yeah. And I'll just give a little context here for our listeners. Like, I think I learned about this because you and I were in some meeting or conversation together, and your notification went off. You were like, Lauren, I got to do my Be Real photo. Like, what? So you taught me about this app. And I remember being so impressed. Like, gosh, Quinn is like a young woman, an emerging talent, and she is so confident in herself, like posted on this app, Be Real, whatever the moment is. And I kind of reflected back, like when I started out as an intern, I was scared to death to put my authentic foot forward. I was just trying to follow the crowd. So I do think that that is something that's special about you, Quinn. And I'm glad that you've been recognized by your peers and acknowledged as an influencer by bringing that authenticity with you into the workplace.
Thank you.
So let's talk a little bit more about that. First of all, congratulations. Number 2 local government influencer this year. I mean, what an achievement. I'm so proud of you and not surprised even a little bit. Tell me about how you reacted when you saw your name on that list.
I was I was shocked. I was shook. I was actually at a family reunion in Minnesota that week, so I wasn't working or anything. I had slept in until like 10, and your text was like the first one I saw that morning. And I was like,
Yeah,
"Why?"
man. I was so excited.
I was like, "What could possibly be going on?" And then I saw it and I was so excited. I went to the family breakfast and I was like, "Guys, guess what? This is so cool." Being number 2, that was crazy. Like, I don't even have the words to describe how that feels.
Um, it should feel real, right? It's who you
Yeah.
are. It's
Feels
good to be
real.
recognized.
It was good to be recognized.
That's awesome. So, has being named an influencer had any influence on your local government career?
Yeah, it has. I have I've been excited and I feel for the first time I feel like so legitimized where I'm like I am an adult, I'm a good employee. I am prepared for this industry and things are going to be okay. And it has kind of made my creative mind stir. I have all these ideas of things that I want to write about. But at the same time, it kind of scares me because I'm thinking is that next time I post something, all these like everyone's looking at me. Everyone's going to see it. People are going to engage with it because I've been recognized as a voice worthy of engaging with. And so I've been a little slow to respond, but I'm working through that and I'm hoping to make the most of it soon.
Quinn, that is so interesting because you are, I mean, to me, you're like the poster child for Be Real, and yet you're also kind of conveying this timidity about really being out there in social media in a new way. How do you reconcile that?
That's a good question. Something I think about is LinkedIn, I think, is the platform for professional achievement. And what makes LinkedIn different from other mediums is that the feed feature on LinkedIn is not just with your friends, it's with anyone who wants to see it.
Hmm.
Whereas other social media sites, you just see what your friends are posting. But LinkedIn is more of a For You page type of model. And so I'm working through the fact that I don't know if I'm prepared to have a big reach. I feel like this sounds stupid.
No, I think what you're saying is really relatable, and I'm glad we're talking about it.
hmm Yeah, what I'm mostly afraid of is what if I say something wrong or I mislead someone about a project or just my words don't translate the way I think they are translating. My communication isn't clear enough. Like my career has just started. I have so much in front of me. I don't want to get canceled.
Quinn, my career is like a little past just started, okay? A little bit.
hmm
Um, but I struggle with this too. I mean, like our public information friends are going to be mortified to hear me say this, but sometimes it takes me like 30 minutes to write a social media post because I'm just like agonizing. Like, did I word this correctly? Is there any way that this could be interpreted as racist, sexist, ageist, all the things? Like, I really want to put my best foot forward and not stick my foot in my mouth here. Um, that, that intimidation is real.
hmm
But what I also heard you say, Quinn, was that getting this award and getting that validation has opened up a new level of creativity for you. And right, the world needs that creativity. We need you and people like you in public service to bring forward your ideas and your thoughts. So I think this is an interesting conversation. Like, how do we support and validate each other so that we are really drawing out all of the interesting ideas and thoughts, like that notion of inclusion, right? Like, how are we
hmm
making sure that we are creating a space where people feel like they can be vulnerable, they can be real, they can bring their best ideas forward? Um, I don't know, but I think this is just an interesting conversation to kind of surface for our listeners. And if
hmm
they're feeling some of those same things, like how can we, as a network of engaging local government leaders, provide that support?
Yeah, another thing I thought of while you were saying that is you mentioned taking 30 minutes to write a social media post. I think that that is awesome and real because some people, I would never use AI to write a simple post. If I'm posting, it is 100% my thoughts, my words. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's this pressure to just, I don't know, throw something in AI and then post it so you can say you did.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I definitely do not consider myself any kind of like social media expert or mega user. I'm big time novice. But it does just seem like there are people out there who are power users, who like
hmm
they're using it, they're posting, they're high profile. And you think those people are getting assistance from AI? Like, I don't know. I just imagine they're like just so clever that whatever's happening in their life, they could just, 30 seconds later put out the most thoughtful social media post.
I think there's a lot of AI in it. One of the biggest keys for detecting AI is if they start a sentence with a preposition.
Oh,
Like if you see a post where all the sentences start with a preposition, like that's an AI post.
okay. I'm going to start looking for that now. Once again, you've taught me a new trick about social media,
hmm
Quinn, like reverse mentorship. I'm always learning from you.
Perfect.
Okay. The people who nominated you said some very nice things. You are bringing the positivity into your workplace. I love that about you. What are your tips for overcoming the negativity and the polarization that often happens in public life and tends to keep good public servants down?
hmm That's a good question. Lucky for me, as a management analyst, I'm a little bit protected from some of the public scrutiny that city managers and assistant city managers and council members might get. So I'm like, I'm test driving it right now. But the biggest things for me is that you can never take your work stuff personally.
Mm,
You
yeah.
need to, if you find yourself working on a project and you're just getting mad or you're getting beef with a colleague over difficulties on a project, like stop right there and ground yourself. This is work. This is your job. These people are good people. We're all here to accomplish the same mission. Don't let that infiltrate your mind. You have to keep it unpersonal. I remember when we were launching the land bank, we
Yeah.
were we were fighting demons to coordinate the launch because there were so many moving parts, press release, we had to coordinate with the news story going on, we needed our website updated, we have an amazing interactive map portal that our IT department built, but just working to get it all ready at the same time on the same day
Yeah.
was really hard. And I felt I was going to explode. And what I did was I went into a conference room by myself and I just meditated. I was like, nothing bad is going to happen if the map goes up an hour after the website. It's literally going to be fine. These people did good work and we accomplished something really huge. No more problems after that.
That's a real sign of maturity. Perspective is everything, but it is hard to find perspective when you're in a, that tense moment of trying to
Yeah.
get the thing done. So that's awesome advice.
Yeah.
In the conference room, take a moment for yourself. Go for a
Mm-hmm.
walk.
Yeah. I also take it into my personal life outside of work. I have a very grounding, ritualistic. Every night I go and I wash my face and I do it so slow. And I just picture every person I've ever known, like they all end their day washing their face. I'm here washing my face. We all at the end of the day are doing the same thing.
Yeah, great attitude. Um, One thing that we haven't talked about yet, that since we are audio only on GovLove, our listeners will not have the chance to appreciate the way that I can seeing you on video. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're wearing and your personal sense of fashion?
Yes. So I wear pink every single day, and I have done that for like 3 years now. And I've got right now I'm working the pink cardigan, but normally on a work day I've been recently going a little more formal. I have some pink suit jackets and some nice pink work tops that I wear with more neutral suits. And I've got my pink glasses, I'm wearing a pink headband, some pink headphones.
Just she's super adorable and classy and fashion forward, listeners. Okay, I just want to paint this picture for you, and this is how she dresses and looks every day. But tell me more about that. Like, are you making a statement? Do you just love the color pink?
Well, it started out that I just love the color pink. And as time went on, I just accumulated more and more pink things. But I think it's kind of transformed since the beginning. I think that I have, coming from a business school background, I tend to be pretty aggressive in a chase for success and things like that. And so I think it gives me the appearance of being a little bit softer and a little bit more approachable. And it makes me feel happy, so it keeps that smile on my face. But yeah, not too much of a statement, but I don't think it'll change soon.
Yeah, I just think it's something that's fun and interesting about you. Okay, Quinn, what's next for you? You're a management analyst. Are you aiming to be a city manager? Are you going to run for U.S. president here in a few years? What's next on your agenda?
I am pretty steadfast in my goal to be a city manager. Nothing in the past year of crazy city manager news I've seen all over the internet has scared me away. It's just kind of made me want to do it more. I
Impressive.
think, yeah, I think that my generation is gonna, I think my generation is really gonna take the industry by storm when the time comes. The Gen
Oh,
Z
I
city
think you already
managers.
have.
So far,
Yeah.
it's gonna get more.
And I mean, along that vein, Quinn, I got to ask, will you hire me to be your assistant city manager and fulfill my lifelong ambition of getting to work for one of my former interns?
Only if you are the best candidate for the position.
Oh, snap. No personal favors here. It sounds like,
No personal favors.
well, I can't complain. I guess I raised you right with all those good public
Hmm.
service values. Best person for the job. Okay. I'll have to bring my A game. I get it.
Yeah,
If I want to work for the best, I got to be the best.
exactly. Work hard.
I can't wait. I think that that day is not too far off in your future, although I know you're loving what you're doing in Topeka right now and um, really proud of what you're doing in that community.
Thanks.
Is there
I
anything? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say that I will probably stick on the economic development train for
Mm.
a little bit longer before going into that, just because it's fun and interesting to me. And
Oh, it's a great place to learn. Sounds like you're
yeah,
working on some really cool stuff.
and I love the overlap it has with public works and planning, and it
Yep,
gets to planning
exactly.
commission, city council. It's like a soft launch of city management.
Yeah, great. It's giving you a wide range of exposure. Is there anything else that you want to talk about before we wrap up?
Not really. I want to invite anyone to add me on LinkedIn, reach out if you want to connect. I will be posting my thoughts, some think pieces, some writing here soon, as I have in the past.
I can't wait. Be brave. You're an influencer. We want to be influenced by you.
Yes, I will. I have a queue of stuff that's been written since May that I just haven't really posted. So it'll come out.
Okay. We look forward to that. Anything else that you want to share?
I don't think so. I think we covered it all.
All right. Well, it's always awesome to visit with you, Quinn. I'm so proud of you, and I'm so glad I got the opportunity to introduce you to our GovLove audience, those who may not have met you yet, and they are going to be eager to get to learn more about you and watch your career and do what we do best at ELGL, which is help people connect and find support and keep doing great work for cities and counties in public service. So, thank you so much for joining the podcast today, Quinn. We've got one final question for you. If you could be the GovLove DJ, what song would you pick as our exit music for this episode?
I thought about this long and hard, and I have to go with Entry of the Gladiators.
Do I know this song? Have I heard this song? I just don't recognize the title.
Yeah, let me hum it for you.
Oh, please do.
It goes like this.
Yeah, the circus song.
Yes,
I love it. Why did you pick this song?
I like the whimsy of it.
I like the whimsy of it. Yes, it's very on theme for you.
It's whimsy, but it's also grand,
Yeah, it's well said. Perfect. That's you in a nutshell.
right?
All right, listeners, that ends our episode for today. Thank you so much to our guest, Quinn Cole from the city of Topeka, Kansas. Thank you for listening. You can reach us at elgl.org/govlove or on social media at GovLove Podcast. This has been GovLove, a podcast about local government.